hundreds of cinemagoers once packed into the Odeon on London Road for first dates and family nights. The lost city centre cinema showed countless classics up until its closure in 2008, when it was replaced by the Liverpool ONE multiplex. The old Odeon may no longer be around today, but you can take a trip back in time with this fascinating footage from 1999. The footage was taken inside the London Road cinema by Alan Ditchfield, who worked there from 1996 up until its closure in 2008. Everything from the snack bar to inside the projection room and the screens themselves can be seen in the footage, which shows what the cinema looked like before it underwent a refurbishment in 1999. Alan, 45, from West Derby, has shared his memories of working at the cinema and what it was really like behind the scenes. Alan said, quote, "My family lived a stone's throw away from the Odeon, so they loved to tell stories of going to the Odeon. I always wanted to work in a cinema. When I first started, there was a bar called the John Gregson Bar. He was a Liverpool actor. The cinema was heaving every single night. It was Friday night and Saturday night when you would see the couples. You would see people having their first dates, and Saturday mornings were full of kids who'd been given money to go to the pictures. It was a completely different way of life. There were no mobile phones then, so people sat and watched the film." As a screen checker, Alan said he had a piece of paper with the timings of all the films that were on that day, and when the adverts were on. This meant he could sit at the back of a screen and watch parts of the films, or pop in for his favourite scene. But his job also involved keeping an eye out for anyone causing disruption or doing something they shouldn't. Alan said, quote, "Sometimes you'd be sat at the back of the screen and your job was to look for people with their feet on the seats and make sure they're not smoking or filming the film. I've interrupted people having sex. I've seen someone having a wee in one of the screens because they didn't want to miss the film. I've seen someone at the back of a film reading the Echo using the projector light. I think when they were having sex, obviously they kind of stopped straight away after being seen, so I didn't have to say as much, but you've got to be professional." The cinema first opened for business back in October 15, 1934, and as well as screening the latest films, it would host gigs and events. Some of the cinema's most famed moments in its 74 years included the Beatles playing there on December 8, 1963, and a screening of A Hard Day's Night the following year. Alan, who now works as a healthcare assistant at Aintree Hospital, said he still has fond memories of his previous occupation, during which he met stars such as Richard Attenborough and Samuel L. Jackson. Back before films became digital, Alan recalls helping the projectionist carry film reels into the projection room, which was so heavy it took 3 people to carry them. Despite what people might think, Alan said the projectionist doesn't stay sat in the projection room for the duration of the film, but instead moves between screens. Alan has kept a range of memorabilia from his time working at the Odeon, but perhaps his most exciting find was a book of 131 tickets from 1968. The book included tickets for the September 7th showing of the musical West Side Story, while 2 others, from September 12th and October 18th, were for the musical Oliver. Alan said, quote, "I think one of the best things about working in the cinema is you got this cinema pass. It was 2 tickets a week. But it wasn't just the films, it was the people and the time. The magic of the place. None of us knew how special it was, even when it was shutting in 2008. Despite a surge in people turning to streaming services to watch films since the coronavirus pandemic, Alan hopes the future for cinema is bright." He added, quote, "You can watch a film at home, but there's nothing quite like going to the cinema."